This is Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bank Corp, Southwest Sporting Goods, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Price and Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles Thompson and Kneebone, Certified Public Accountants, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Arkadelphia Tire and Outfitters, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Batson Signs, Print Mania, Agent Jake Knight at Pennington Insurance, Cry Like Pro Elite Realty, and Sheffield Music Company. The host of Inside Badger Football is Chase Hartzell.
Well, do not adjust your setting. I am not Chase Hartzell. He has not aged overnight. Instead, it's Jeff Root. Glad to be with you today. Coach, glad to be with you.
Right,
so much fun to be with you on the show today.
Yes.
Love to watch you and Chase in action. He's got a little time off for Thanksgiving. We're going to get him back for Friday's game, but with a little bit of time off gives me a chance to sit in with you today. Looking forward to doing that. Playoff edition. Your team got another playoff win, and you are on your way to the next round. It's an exciting game to talk about. We'll see some highlights in a moment. First of all, tell me about how you felt coming out of the game. I know not everything went according to plan, but let's talk about defense first, because a touchdown on the first possession for your opponent, but then Mayflower never got to the red zone again, shut out the rest of the way.
Yeah, and that's pretty typical with our defense. You know, our guys do a great job of handling in-game adjustments. Our staff does a really good job of putting together a really good game plan to go into a game and then making adjustments off of that. And so that's, you know, really what you see. We knew Mayflower was a really, really good team. You know, we had to be prepared. They've got some good skill players. We knew that their quarterback was very elusive in the run game, and that came out to be true. And, you know, our defense did a really good job. You know, it was kind of one of those things, bend but don't break. Mayflower had a really good game plan going into the game with, you know, slowing the game down, trying to keep the ball in their hands, keep the ball away from us. We just had to get them off the field, and at times that was difficult to do, just with the players that they had. You know, their quarterback being as elusive as he was, he was very difficult to get down in certain situations, especially on third and fourth down. They were able to convert some of those and kept some drives and extend some drives. But in the end, you know, yeah, they were able to extend the drive, but didn't come up with many points. So that was the overall goal.
They ate up some of the clock in doing that. They didn't get close to scoring another touchdown, but
Right.
they did eat up some clock, which interrupted the flow for your offense, as well as the fact that there were just stoppages in play from time to time.
Yeah.
That also kind of interrupted the flow. And yet, second quarter, you get the touchdown that in the end is the touchdown you need to win the game.
Right.
Iced it later in the second half, but you got a key touchdown and then a 2-point conversion that was starting out as a 1-point conversion. Then after a couple of penalties, you're just less than a yard away and you pick up the 2 points.
That's right. And, you know, offensively, it was just hard to get in a rhythm all night. It was hard to keep drives alive, just given different situations. Some of that self-inflicted, what we did, some of it just the flow of the game. But really, in the end, you know, we overcame it, and that's one thing that I really want to take away from the game is our guys overcame adversity, found a way to win. Playoff time, anything can happen. You know, you've got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to be at your best. You got to be at your best every Friday night. Doesn't matter your opponent. And Mayflower had a really good game plan going into it. They executed really well, and they really forced us to execute and do what we need to do. You know, force the issue on some things. But overall, I thought we did a really good job of overcoming things. You know, stuck together as a team and found a way to win, and that's really what it comes down to.
Your team earned a bye in the first round. That is a credit to the Arkadelphia Badgers, but it also means you're going to play a team in the second round that has already won a playoff game, a team that is highly motivated, and Mayflower did some good things in the ball game. At this point, every game is a challenge, but your team has been up to challenges in the past and appear to be headed in that direction again. Did you feel good about the practices during the bye week, getting ready for this game? And what do you do to get ready for a game during Thanksgiving week?
Yeah, you know, we did. We had really good practices going into it. I thought our kids were prepared, and, you know, we were ready. And I think, you know, that stood true for the game. We won the game, and we did what we needed to do to win the game. And so going into it, moving forward into Thanksgiving week. The kids aren't in school. To me, as coaches, we really enjoy it because as a staff, our team, one of the main focus is football. Yeah, that it's a holiday week off from school and all that, but really allows us to get to focus a little bit more on football and gives us a little bit extra time to focus on it and do some things that we normally wouldn't be able to do. And so, we'll practice at 1:30 Monday and Tuesday. Then we'll move practice from 8 to about 11 in the morning on Wednesday, and then 8 to about 9:45, 10 o'clock on Thursday, Thanksgiving morning. But it's a special time to get to practice and play on Thanksgiving.
Coach, I've been around for a while on the broadcast, right? A few decades. And so I remember a stretch of time in which the players were not accustomed to a really long season. And part of that adjustment of becoming a winning team was embracing the idea that you might play during Thanksgiving week, right? Tell me about the team. At this point, are they planning for that? Are they excited about playing during a holiday weekend?
Yeah, no doubt we are. This isn't anything that's new to us. Our seniors have been a part of 2 semifinal playoff runs, and the semifinals, not even the semifinals this week. It's the quarterfinals, and so the semifinals is always after for 4A. And so our seniors, our juniors are used to playing and practicing on Thanksgiving. It's kind of one of those things that it's expected. It'd be very disappointing if we were not. A lot of teams tend to take that for granted. There's a lot of teams that aren't playing right now, and so only the best of the classifications are. And so we've earned our way into that, and we're excited to be here. We expect to be here, but it is a privilege, and our guys have earned it. All the work that we do all year long, January up to now, is geared for this time of the year. And so our guys, it's just an expectation, and we're very thankful and happy to be playing this week, but we've got bigger goals ahead.
That's a mindset that I know that you work on every year, and that every team is a new team, and every team has to embrace that idea that we want to play football for the entire fall semester, right? And it has been a joy to watch the Badgers develop that mindset through the years and to be able to keep that going. It's partly the coaches, without a doubt. It's also the players influencing each other, I would assume.
It is. And it does start with the coaches. The coaches develop that mindset, and that's what we instill in them. But our players respond to it. It is a mindset that the players have to understand and to conform to. And because it is a long season, playing 4A, it's a 15-week season, and one of the longer seasons in all the classifications. And so you've got to be really geared towards that. You've got to do a good job of taking care of your body, making sure that you're healthy and can withstand the whole season. And then also just having the mindset that, hey, this is what we got to do. There's sacrifices that we've got to make to be able to get here. You
just got to embrace it. I mean, it's a lot of fun at the end of the season. You win a conference, you win playoff games. That's where the joy and the real payoff comes.
That's exactly right. It's fun to win. It's fun to have a long season. It's fun to be considered the best. And so that's where we want to be.
Well, let's look at the team that came out on top. Arkadelphia Badgers playing Mayflower last week. We've got highlights to show you, and we'll begin those right now. As you see, Mayflower's going to get the ball first. You won the toss and elected to defer to the second half, right?
We did. We wanted to put the defense on the field, and our defense is the strongest point of our team and has been for the entire season. And we wanted to get them on the field and lead the way. And
so this was the surprise play coming up, a big gain on 3rd down and long.
Yeah, and it's good play call. We're in position. We just didn't win at the point of attack, and that's just one thing that we did early. We're in position. We just got to finish and execute the entire play. And when playoffs, when you go against good players, good teams, well-executed game plans, you got to be on your P's and Q's, and one thing that's out of line, one person that's misaligned, it really can hurt you, and that's what you saw the first drive.
A couple of 3rd down plays where they just got one more yard than they needed to keep it going, and that was to their credit here early in the game. And this is the 2 best players, I would say, for the team, as the quarterback, Fennell, puts it to Anderson in the back of the end zone.
Yes, their quarterback number 2, very, very talented player. Can hurt you with his legs, and he was able to extend a play and found a good receiver out in space and found him in the end of the end zone. Put a really good ball, really good catch on it. So we knew that we had to be ready to extend the plays defensively.
This is a special kick return.
Yeah, and we take special teams very seriously. Anytime that there's a special teams opportunity to make a play, we want to do that, especially on a return unit. We're trying to create good field position. We're really trying to score.
So, Coach, they've got to be excited they've scored on their first possession, but then it's very important that your team immediately comes back and ties the game.
That's exactly right. First offensive drive of the game, we're trying to set the tone for our offense. We're really just taking what the defense has given us. Really good play right there by Maddox Atkins, getting the ball out in space. He almost scored. He got a foot out of bounds, but Kyle Reed comes in, does a really good job. We execute the run play really well. Kyle shows some strong running, gets in the end zone.
Yeah, he really took the defender right into the end zone with him, and then the extra point ties the game up at 7. And so after that, we're going to see defense for a little while. Both teams playing well.
Yeah, our defense, it's like I said, it's a bend but don't break. We knew that we had to play well. They did some things that were a little bit different than what we were expecting going into it, and that's just kind of part of the playoffs. Every team that you see, you get films to prepare and game plan for, but those other teams, they're game planning as well. Just because they've done it on film doesn't mean they're not going to have wrinkles off of it. Every team is in a win or your season's over scenario, and so every team's going to have some wrinkles off of what they've done during the regular season to try to create some mismatches to get you out of position, and we've just got to be ready to play for it and make the adjustments whenever they come.
This was a huge play to stop this drive, and again, they ate up some clock with this drive, but didn't actually get to the red zone.
Yeah, and that goes back to that bend but don't break. They might extend a drive, put a long drive together, but if they don't get any points from it, get the ball back to our offense, and our offense go execute, everything will be okay.
And we're not seeing some of the stoppages in play. Part of that is because the penalties piled up on both teams.
They really did, and that's something that, just comes back to playing disciplined football, playing clean football. We can't let some of those things affect us. We got to play and handle our emotions, and just go back to playing with technique. We want to be a physical football team. We want to be violent, but we've got to be able to control it, play with technique.
So with good field position, Mayflower is just not able to move the ball here, and they don't pass the 20. They don't get in the red zone. Even though they go for it on 4th down, Arkadelphia is ready for them.
That's right, and like I've said, our defense is our strong suit. Our defense is one of the best defenses in 4A. I think that's partly made our offense better, and our offense has really developed over the course of the season. It's because we go against the best defense every day in practice.
Here's a good gain. Arkadelphia with the ball back. And then a punt is going to roll and roll and roll. This is a key play in the game. Very important punt.
A really good punt from Cam McBride. Really flipped the field, created some tough field position for the other offense. Our defense really likes this field position, and we usually play well whenever we pin offenses deep. It's very difficult to go an entire field against our defense.
And they had a penalty that took them back to the 4. They start to move out of it, and then good things happen for the Badgers.
That's right. We were able to get some pressure. We were disciplined on our pass rush lanes. We created turnover right here. We get a strip sack, and that was huge for us. Getting us in short field really helped our offense. And you've seen that up, in some situations earlier this year. Defense creates good field position for our offense. Our offense goes out, puts together a couple quick plays, executed well, and we get a score. And so it goes back to just playing as a team, the different phases of the game, helping each other out. And, on the PAT try, there was a couple penalties, put the ball closer, so we put our heavier unit in and go for 2. The ball's so close to the end zone, it's just a little bit better to go for 2, especially if you can get, 6 inches, get an extra point out of it.
So K.D. Young's got to be living his best life right now. He's making tackles on defense and running the ball into the end zone on that 2-point conversion.
He is, and he had a great game for us, especially on defense. And but he is our big back that we put in our goal line package.
So Arkadelphia with the lead now as we're getting near halftime. That lead's going to be 15-7 at halftime. 8-point lead is not exactly comfortable, but your defense has played so well that Arkadelphia is in control of the game at this point.
Yeah, and you said it. It's not a comfortable lead. It's not what we are used to. It's not what we really like to be in that that situation. But it's playoff time. Anything can happen, and you've got to be able to overcome adversity. You've got to be able to handle anything that's thrown at you. And whatever the situation is, we've got to be able to handle it. And I thought we did.
Yeah, speaking of handling it, handling the onside kick.
That's
very
right.
important.
And that was something that we knew coming out that we had to be ready for. We suspected that they might try something like that, and our guys were ready, so we did a really good job. Coach Chandler, our special teams coordinator, did a really good job of preparing our guys going out and making sure that we recognized it and see and be ready for it. We had to get to the ball.
As we see the defense in action here, let me go back to that touchdown. It was scored by Wagner, who's also, of course, a cornerback as well as a receiver at times. You do play some people both ways. Mayflower depended on playing several people both ways. There's a real difference there that you've got the opportunity to do less of that and keep people fresh.
That's exactly right. That's our philosophy is if we can two platoon and keep guys fresh, we don't have to play people on both sides of the ball as much. We do have a few that go both ways, but we're not just a wholesale 11 for 11 going both ways. So I think that helps us out, especially late in games whenever we're going against teams that are using more players on both sides of the ball.
He's an elusive quarterback, but the defense very aggressive here, able to get to him, push him back.
Yes, our defensive line has played really well. Especially whenever they were disciplined in their pass rush lanes, we were able to get pressure on the quarterback, and that was really big for us, just because we knew that their quarterback was the best part of their offense.
What a key kick return here.
Yes, Braden Wagner, big kick return. He's done that a couple times for us this year. Anytime that the offense or the other team's punting, he's our punt returner.
Lost part of that return to a penalty, so you're still driving down from about midfield here.
Yeah, and it just seemed like every time that there was a big play for us, I know that we're missing some of that through all this, but just the rhythm of the game kind of was thrown off for us offensively, because every time that we'd have something big happen or create good field position, there was something that kind of pushed us back or stalled us out.
There's a penalty against Mayflower. They had some issues with that as well. And it wasn't just the number of penalties, just a lot of conferences. And so I won't criticize them for that. There was a reason, I suppose, for those conversations, but it does destroy the pace of the game.
That's right, it does. And one thing that I thought Mayflower did a really good job of was their tackling. They did a really good job of tackling, and we didn't have many missed. We weren't able to create many missed tackles on the night, and we weren't able to break many tackles. I thought Mayflower's defense did a really good job of pursuit and getting to the ball. You see right there, especially on fourth down like that, very crucial for them to get multiple players to the ball and try to get us down before we get first down. I thought they did a really good job of that all night.
It's his fourth quarter play now, and they are trying to get out of the hole. Big hit from behind. The defense looks so aggressive, and they're tackling well against a really fine group of skill position players for Mayflower.
Yes, we take pride in the way that we pursue and the way that we tackle. We just talked about how Mayflower did really well at that, but we take pride in that as well on defense, and I thought our guys did a really good job of maintaining that mentality over the course of the night.
This is an example of how some first downs don't result in a score, but they do eat up some clock here in the second half.
They do, and they put together some long drives, ate up a lot of clock, but didn't come away with any points. And, they really kept the ball out of our hands offensively a lot of the game. We didn't have the ball as many times as we normally do, but our defense comes through right here, creates a big turnover for us, gets the ball back to our offense.
It was Wimberly on the fumble recovery. He had a big game too.
He did have a big game. It's huge to see him. He's a junior, second-year starter for us, and he's really coming along. He's had a really good season, but he's really playing his best football right now.
Now, this is a strong drive here. If I remember correctly, this is a drive where you get your third touchdown of the game.
Yes. We've put some really strong runs together with D'Angelo Buckley and Kyle Reed both. Our offense did a really good job of executing the plays up front. We controlled the line of scrimmage in the run and the pass game, and it really starts with those guys up front being able to do that. Mayflower had some pretty big guys up front, but we were able to control the line of scrimmage, execute the plays, and then right there you saw Cade McBride get out of the pocket and found the end zone.
He did. Looked like he looked to the end zone and then decided to run, and he's got deceptively good speed.
That's right, he does, and he's been a strong runner for us this season. And so, as you saw at the end, that final score, put it 2 scores ahead, and Mayflower had to do some things that they weren't used to doing over the course of the night, and we get another interception right there at the end.
Now we've got some statistics we want to show you. Here's McBride, 16 of 22, really nice completion percentage, 143 yards. It piled up through the game, a touchdown, 6 runs for 19 yards. Not as many rushes or yards as he often will get, but Kyle Reed, nice game, 11 rushes, 46 yards, and a powerful touchdown there. Big day for Purifoy. He came through with 5 catches, 44 yards.
It really was, and we're used to seeing probably bigger stats on that board right there than what we are right now, and that I think is a big testament to Mayflower's game plan for trying to keep the ball out of our hands. They executed that really well, so we didn't get many drives or many opportunities. The rhythm of the game just wasn't great for us offensively, and then Mayflower did a really good job of tackling. We didn't have many broken tackles, and there wasn't many yards after catch. There wasn't many just really long runs. And so that's why, the numbers on the board right there just aren't just jumping off the screen at you. But we were able to sustain drives and put together enough drives and create good field position enough to score.
I want to talk about some of the younger guys too. We see some of their names here and some seniors as well. Wimberly, we talked about 2.5 sacks for K.D. Young. That's a very strong combo in your defensive line.
It sure is. Our defensive line is very, very, very strong. I was very proud of our guys with how they handled the pass rush lanes. We knew that there was an elusive quarterback at Mayflower, and that everything that they did offensively was going to go through him. And so our defensive line had to really step up and have a good game, and I thought they did that.
Now, Chase, we're accustomed to seeing at the top of the tackle chart, but Reese Campbell's really coming along too.
He really is coming along. He had a huge game against Malvern a couple weeks ago, and then first game back away from that is to Mayflower, and he had another really good game. So he's really stacking up a couple good games back to back.
Let's talk about players of the week. Lots of candidates on defense, offense too. What are your thoughts on player of the week this week?
Yeah, so our players of the week this week, we'll start with the offense, is junior offensive line Carson Carrozza. We talk about everything through our offense starts with the offensive line, and Carson Carrozza really had his best night. He's been a strong leader for us up front, really coming along. He's a junior, plays right tackle for us, and I thought he had his best night on our offensive line Friday night. Just really set the tone for our guys, and really did what we needed him to do. And then on defense, senior defensive lineman K.D. Young had a huge night. We said his name quite a bit Friday. In the pass rush lanes, we knew that he had a tall task going against a good elusive quarterback, but he did a really good job in his pass rush lanes, defeated his blocks, and was able to create pressure and got a couple sacks, tackles for loss, just tackles. He did a really good job of pursuing to the football, just really led us on defense. And then special teams player, sophomore Quintavian Morris. I know we weren't able to talk about it just a ton throughout the clips, but he had really good tackles on our headhunters unit, on our kickoff unit. Really good tackles, made the play, did a really good job of getting to his top speed quick, getting down the field, and then making the play when he got there. Then our Badger Spirit Award is our SRO, Officer Dwayne Ward. Dwayne Ward does a really good job of making sure that our entire school is safe. He's one of those guys that he's always there when we need him, but just always there for us, making sure that we're safe and sound, and he's also a big supporter of our team.
Well-deserved Spirit Award. One thing I like about that chart we just saw, a sophomore, a junior, a senior, everybody contributing.
That's right, and this time of the year, everybody knows what to expect, and you're starting to see some players really rise to the top, some guys that have really developed over the course of the season. Our coaches have done a really good job of keeping them and putting them in position, and our guys have really responded.
Coach, let's talk about the conference and how it's doing in the playoffs, because there were some big games with other teams in the conference, and one that surprised me, that being the Ashdown score. Yeah,
Ashdown's playing their best football right now. They've really come along. I think they've got some guys back from injury. They're really starting to put it together. They're moving on to the quarterfinals, and they're playing really good football. That was a big win against DeWitt. DeWitt was a really good team, and that was a big win for them.
And then, of course, the Malvern Harding Academy game got a lot of attention as the repeat of last year's championship game. Malvern stayed close for a while. Harding Academy took off in the second half.
And that's one of the reasons why that winning a 4A state championship is the hardest, in my opinion, to do out of the classifications, because there's so many teams, there's so many matchups in the bracket. You never know what the bracket's going to look like for you, no matter what the seed is. That's a 1 seed Harding going against the number 2 seed Malvern in the second round. You see that every year. It's just part of it. It's part of being in 4A and having so many teams, and you've got to bring it every Friday night.
Nashville and CAC, just a wild shootout. CAC was able to win it playing at home.
Yeah, we knew that was going to be a big game as well. CAC's having a phenomenal year. They're the 1 seed out of their conference. Nashville's the 3 out of ours. But we knew that was going to be a huge game. Nashville had to go on the road to CAC, and it really turned into a shootout.
Okay, so Arkadelphia still alive, Ashdown still alive. The quarterfinal game is coming up on Friday. Let's talk about those games a little bit, because certainly Rivercrest is a challenging opponent. We'll talk about the other 3 games momentarily.
Yeah, Rivercrest is a very challenging opponent. We were able to play them last year this same week, and a lot of their better players off that team from last year are now seniors. And so they're a very senior-heavy group of players, and they're very, very talented. They're the 1 seed from their conference. You got the notes up there, but they're very talented. They're the one seed from their conference. So you've got 2 1 seeds going at it this week. And so it'll be a big game. They're very, very explosive on offense. They're big on the front line. On the defensive side, they're big on the defensive line. They're very skilled at the linebacker position. They're skilled in the secondary. Probably one of the better defenses that we will have seen this year. And so same thing on the offensive side. They're very, very talented.
Now, you took on Rivercrest last year and got the victory. If I remember right, it was reasonably close at halftime. The Badgers pulled away in the second half. How much do high school players think about rematches? Is that for fans, or is that something the kids think about?
Well, I don't know how it is other places, but for us, we look at it as a new season. Every season is new. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. We've got to be at our best on Friday. We've got to make sure that we're ready to go, we're prepared, and we cannot compare last year's score or last year's team to this year's situation. And so we try to keep our kids away from that, and we don't really talk about that. But we do make sure that we are prepared and we're ready for the game.
It feels like a thing that fans are obviously prone to think about, because they remember last year's game, and if you're a Rivercrest fan, you're wanting some revenge.
Sure.
But the players, I feel like the players are thinking about today more than they're thinking about something a year ago.
That's right.
To them, a year ago is a major portion of their lives. It's not the same for me and even for you, right?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
A little bit different for the students as they are getting ready for that matchup. The other games include Ashdown, a tough matchup.
It is a tough matchup for them. Harding, they have to go all the way to Harding. Harding gets to play 2 4A7 opponents back-to-back weeks. But it's a tall task. Harding's a very good team, but Ashdown's playing their best football right now as well, and it's the playoffs. Like I've said, anything can happen in the playoffs. So you've got to be at your best. You've got to be healthy, and you've got to be ready to play and be well prepared every Friday night, because everybody that's left, there's only 8 teams left.
Right.
When you're part of the last 8, all of them are very, very good. They're very well coached, and the ball's got to bounce your way a little bit. So you've got to be ready.
We'll work our way up the chart here. CAC really proved themselves, I thought, last week, and now they're at home again playing Elkins, a very good team.
Yes, and very explosive offenses. Elkins has put up a lot of points. They're a very senior-heavy group as well, and that should be another shootout, a high-scoring football game.
And then finally, Warren is playing at home, and of course they're a very common team to see at this stage of the playoffs. And Arkadelphia has had some really tremendous games against Warren, sometimes winning, sometimes on the losing end. But of course, we're thinking about Rivercrest this week for the Badgers, but Ozark is thinking about Warren this week and trying to go into Warren and pull an upset.
That's right. Ozark, they're a playoff program as well. They're used to being in the playoffs, so they get to go to Warren, and Warren's a tough place to play, but I'm sure both of those staffs will have their guys ready, and it'll be a very, very good matchup.
I tell you what, I would think that of these teams, at least 7 of the 8, maybe all 8, would be teams that folks would think about before the season started as the strength of 4A. So it's an achievement to be in this group. Being in the top 8 is an achievement, but not one that the Badgers are ready to settle for. You want to be in the top 4 next week.
That's exactly right. You know, we're happy that we're here. We're excited about the opportunity to play Friday and continue playing. But we've got bigger goals ahead, and we just got to make sure that we're prepared. We're taking and doing the things that it takes to get to that next week. And you know, we're trying to earn another 48 minutes of football, and that's what we're all doing right now. But we've got to make sure that we're more prepared.
Let me ask you one last question as we wrap up the show. In bringing the kids together and practicing during the week of Thanksgiving, one of the traditions that I think means a lot for those of us who have followed the team for a long period of time, and hopefully means a lot to the students as well, is that you bring some alumni back to visit with them about what it's like to be this deep in the playoffs at practice Thanksgiving week. Tell me about that tradition. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of part of the tradition of practicing on Thanksgiving. You know, we've got a lot of alumni that have done it and been a part of it, and so we want to bring those guys back. We ask some guys that have been a part of our program from many years ago to just a few years ago. So we bring back a wide range of former players, and we start our Thanksgiving Day practice at 8 o'clock in the morning. We start with allowing those guys, those alumni, to talk to our team about what it means to practice and play on Thanksgiving, what it means to be a Badger, and just give them some words of encouragement to start the practice.
Coach, thank you so much. It has been fun to sit in for Chase Hartzell today. And stay tuned because, you know, next week Chase will be back. But I'll be there with Chase for the play-by-play on Friday night. Looking forward to the game. As always, it's a great day to be a Badger.
Is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bank Corp, Southwest Sporting Goods, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Price and Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles Thompson and Kneebone, Certified Public Accountants, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Arkadelphia Tire and Outfitters, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Batson Signs, Print Mania, Agent Jake Knight at Pennington Insurance, Cry Like Pro Elite Realty, and Sheffield Music Company. Inside Badger Football is produced weekly by the Ouachita Baptist University Rogers Department of Communications and the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.